Welcome back, Algebra Half. Lesson 7 is called Multiplying and Dividing Decimal Numbers, and just a little bit of estimation in there. Multiplying decimal numbers, really not unlike multiplying whole numbers. Very unlike adding decimal numbers. Do I need to line up the decimal places when I'm setting up 4.12 times 63.2? No, I do not. This is just fine. We did want it vertical though. That's how we do multiplication. 4, 2, 8, 6, 0, 6, 3, 12, 0, 0. Don't forget that second 0. 12, 7, 24. Okay. Add this up because we're multiplying. Sorry, it's a little bit messy. 4 plus 0 is 4. 2 plus 6 is 8. How are we doing? Looks pretty decent. Did I do this right? Bottom of page 21 looks pretty good. One thing we have to do though. Do you know what it is? Decimal multiplication. 1, 2, 1. There were 3 total decimal places when we multiplied, which means 1, 2, skip 3 over. So our answer is actually 260 and 384 thousandths. All right, there's another example of that on the top of page 28 if you want to see it again, where they have 6 decimal places, otherwise nothing changes. To divide, we're going to need to first move that decimal point, right? So check out the division problem I've got copied down there. Think about how you'd set that up. Okay. We do that with a division sign, don't we? We need it to do something like so. What goes inside? The dividend. What's the dividend? It's actually, you got to flip it backwards from the way it's written. 84 thousandths divided by 35 hundredths. It said move the decimal place before you start. So that means 1, 2, 1. You need to move it the same number of places in both divisor and dividend. Okay, we're not just counting off to know where to move it. We are counting off like this, and then this rises on up. So there's a spot here, 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 and we may end up needing some extra zeros too. Well, don't do that. So zeros may actually yield something different, but I'll put spaces over the zeros. Okay. Now that we've moved that over, really there's nothing here anymore. And we can't consider that, but 35 doesn't go into 0, doesn't go into 8. Does it fit in 84? Absolutely. How many times? Well, if you're real good at math, you know 35 is half of 70. Kind of a classic doubling. So 35 times 2 gives me 70. Definitely can't go any more 35s than that. Subtract, because we're doing division. So subtract that out and drop your 0. How many times 35 and 140? Exactly 4 times, believe it or not. So we write that right above the number we just dropped. 35 times 4, feel free to check it on your calculator as you go along, yields nothing. It's just a 0. So final answer, 24 hundredths. Okay, that's fine. But what if we need to round? Check out what it says next. It says divide and round to 2 decimal places. I've got a different division sign there, but it should work for us. Let's try this. What's my dividend? 0.0. Oh, let's just try that again. 0.004415 under the division sign, and 0.032 is my divisor. Okay, if we want to move these decimal places over, 1, 2, 3, means it needs to be 1, 2, 3, right between the 4s. So rise that on up here. and then make sure you figure this is where the decimal is now. Ignore the 0 and this whole deal. So 32 into 0 doesn't work, 0 doesn't work, 4 doesn't work. But 32 into 44, how many times do you think? You can't really fit that in too many times. It's not as hard as it sounds. That's once. So 32 times 1 is 32. Subtract to get 12. Drop the 1. Okay, our next place needs to go above the 1. 32 into 121, do you know? I got a book here to help me. You have a calculator. (32) into 121 we can fit 3 times. And 3 times 32 is 96. Subtract that. We need to do some borrowing. 11. We took 1 away from here, then we need to borrow again, so this is 11 as well. 5, 2. Drop your 5. 255. Just going to jump to it for you. 7 times 32 gets us decently close. 224. And a way you can do that faster, 7 times 30 is 21 with a 0, right? 7 times 3 is 21, add a 0. 210. Then 7 times 2 is 14. So 210 plus 14 is 224 is the way I would do that. Subtract this out. This one's easy. Now, 31, we'd have to drop a 0 again and say into 310. But do we need to go that far? And if not, why? Because we're only rounding to 2 decimal places, and we've got 1, 2, 3. So circle the second decimal place we're rounding to. And does 7 tell me up or down? It's more than 5, so it's closer to up, which means round it up to 0.14, and if you want to show a 0, you can. Okay, so we're aiming to not have to show remainders anymore. We're aiming to show decimal points. All right. Estimation is simply a technique you can use to check whether your answer could possibly be right, and it can be done with both whole numbers and what we just did with decimals. The idea is to round your arithmetic so it can be done mentally. For both whole numbers and decimals, this involves rounding the first non-zero digit. So this is my first non-zero, this is my first non-zero. Don't use the 0, can't round a 0. So you look at your first non-zero digit, and if you're working with decimals, estimation helps us quickly check that we have placed the decimal point where it belongs in an answer. Estimation will help us quickly check that we've placed it in the right spot. 6.78 is our first factor. What's that really close to? Round this number. Up or down? Up. 0 the rest out. So 7 times 5 up or down stays a 5 and 0's out. But we had 0.05. Okay. That's one you could even do in your head. 7 times 0.05 is 35 and move the decimal place twice, so it's 0.35. With me so far? Okay. Now that's just an estimate, which means we use this little squiggly line. It means approximately. Approximately 0.35. We don't know exactly because we rounded it. We wanted to do it in our heads, which is a good skill to be able to do. Our placement of the decimal point is correct if we did this problem earlier. Did we do this one? Yeah, we did this one. Well, this is example 7.2 from page 28. If you look at that page, their answer was, if they did the actual numbers, 0.364. Well, we got pretty close by estimating up and down 7 and 5, moving the decimal place twice. Approximately 0.35 was a pretty good estimate of 0.364, 364 thousandths. So give that a try for letter B. Start with an approximate answer by rounding. Then find the actual answer. Then try letter D, where you're dividing 52 by a divisor of 18. Make sure you round to 2 decimal places if it asks you to in the directions. Good luck.